It was great to play today. The crowd was amazing and it was a good match, so I'm really happy with the performance. I didn't have that many wins and matches recently.
Sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Sana patuloy yung...
Kamusta mga kapang Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga laban ko.
It wasn't only a tennis event held in Manila. It unleashed a full-scale storm that shocked the sport from locker rooms to boardrooms. You should reconsider if you believe that this was just another typical week on the WTA schedule. Because what transpired here is the kind of upheaval that reshapes brackets, rewrites careers, and highlights the fine line between passion and catastrophe in professional tennis. Greetings from champions again. Tenisics, where we rip apart headlines rather than just skimming them. The shockwaves that struck before the first ball had bounced are where today's tale begins. A nation was insulted. A player was banished. Charges of bias were hurled like grenades. A hometown hero stood firm under oppressive pressure, and the upset was so violent that it completely destroyed the draw. It wasn't your typical tennis match. It was tennis on the verge of collapse. This channel recently surpassed 4,000 subscribers, so allow me to take a moment before we go any further. Furthermore, that figure is a statement rather than merely a statistic. It implies that thousands of you prefer commotion over silence, intensity over safe takes, and truth over fluff. We are able to tell stories like these the way they should be told because of you. And believe me when I say that we are just getting warmed up. Now fasten your seatbelts, because the Philippine Women's Open erupted into controversy as soon as Alina Kariva's name appeared in the disciplinary headlines. This wasn't a gentle reprimand, a warning, or a fee. One of the most severe sanctions in Philippine tennis was this ban. Federation has ever handed down, and it came wrapped in language that left no room for interpretation. Kariva exceeded several red lines, according to the official statement, and engaged in what the Federation described as offensive behavior toward the Philippines while also accusing tournament authorities of bias and favoritism for Alexa, the local favorite. In tennis, those charges are really damaging, so give it a moment. This wasn't frustration, murmured courtside. There was no heated argument with the umpire. The integrity of the entire competition, as well as the country hosting it, was directly threatened by this. Tennis has seen meltdowns, destroyed rackets, obscenity violations, and viral tirades. However, a national federation is accused of manipulating results to benefit a player from their hometown. The nuclear option is that. It raises concerns about whether the competition itself is genuine, whether outcomes are earned, and whether each participant on the court is a part of a manufactured illusion or a fair fight. Music. The response was always going to be intense when you combine that accusation with purported insults to the host nation. The Philippine Tennis Federation did not waver or compromise. Their message was very obvious. You do not enter this nation, compete under its name, take advantage of its hospitality and organization, and then openly disparage its integrity without facing repercussions. They presented the ban as an essential measure to safeguard justice, respect, and the fundamental principles of competitive tennis, establishing a firm line that they feel was irreversibly crossed. Whether you like the punishment or not, there is no doubting the message it conveyed. It was strong, unyielding, and had an immediate impact on the tennis community. In a matter of minutes, social media broke out, and the tennis community was completely divided. Respect for host countries and institutions is equally as important as forehands and rankings, according to one side that praised the federation and said it was long overdue. Professional athletes are said to be global ambassadors, and respect is unavoidable when you travel the world to compete. They believe that baseless charges contaminate the sport itself in addition to harming authorities. They believe the ban acts as a deterrence, a warning shot that emotional outbursts cannot develop into character assassinations without accountability. However, the opposing viewpoint isn't silent either, and they're posing awkward queries. Is a ban too harsh? What is the limit of accountability? And censoring starts. Should athletes who voice concerns about officiating be afraid of career-ending punishment? Even though Kariva's reported remarks may have been careless, Critics contend that athletes should still be able to criticize systems they feel are defective, particularly in a sport where officiating disputes are not uncommon. They are concerned about precedent and a chilling effect in which players choose to remain silent rather than voice valid complaints out of fear. The truth probably lies somewhere between fury and restraint, which is where the story becomes unclear. What specific words were used? Before the issue exploded in public, what was the tone and context, music of the attempts to resolve it privately? Even though those solutions might never completely emerge, the harm has already been done. The prohibition is in effect. Cariva's reputation has been damaged, and the controversy surrounding the Philippine Women's Open will continue long after the final trophy is raised. Rather than being the subject of headlines honoring athletic brilliance, the tournament was shrouded in a persistent cloud of corruption. However, tennis is ruthless and unrelenting, and it doesn't stop for controversy. The matches continued fiercely while controversy flared off the court, and the player whose name was at the center of the storm, Alexa, stood in the middle of it all, cool, collected, and under observation. This event would never be just another stop for Eala. She wasn't just competing for prize money or ranking points. She was bearing the implicit strain that comes with being the face of Philippine tennis, as well as expectations and pride in her country. Every stride she took on the court had symbolic meaning, and every racket stroke reverberated past the baseline. Music. Critics wondered if the turmoil would shatter her focus, if the clamor would seep into her game, if the weight of being the favorite would finally tilt from fuel into burden. Her response came next. It seemed subversive to play tennis with such composure, not in words or statements. Eala easily advanced to the WTA 125 quarterfinals. Philippine Women's Open with a performance that changed the story and silenced skepticism. This wasn't just progression. It served as evidence. Evidence of her ability to maintain her composure while the competition raged all around her. Evidence that she was not bent by pressure. And evidence that her tennis shouted louder than any issue could, regardless of the accusations that circulated. However, the game that characterized this period was about more than just progress. It has to do with history, memory, and unresolved matters. Himeno Sakatsum of Japan, a name ingrained in Eala's history, stood across the net. At the Japan Open in 2023, 3 years prior, Eala suffered a loss that lasted longer than most thanks to Sakatsum. These are the losses that players remember, the ones that emerge during calm times and give rise to lengthy practice nights. This rematch was not a coincidence when the draw revealed it. It was the knock of destiny. Before the opening serve, the atmosphere at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center was electrifying. The crowd was vibrating with excitement that verged on nervousness. This was not a pledge of retribution. It was a call for retribution. Furthermore, tennis seldom accepts those compositions without opposition, and opposition appeared right away. Saksum did not appear in Eala's narrative as a supporting character. She stole the first game and sent a wave of anxiety through the spectators for a heartbeat. She arrived swinging, aggressive, and fearless. It felt like time folding, back on itself like 2023, whispering a caution. However, this iteration of Alexa remained unflinching. She responded with steel, burrowing deep, holding serve, and making it clear that this chapter would not be a replay of the previous one. What followed was a vicious confrontation in which neither player had any breathing room during the seesaw struggle. Winners responded to winners. Tension engulfed the court like a vice as momentum swung violently. Eala was forced to struggle for every inch when Saketsum pushed her to the brink. Every rally is a test of both talent and nerve. Eala was serving under intense strain as the set tightened and the match neared its first real breaking point at 4 games total. Break points accumulated. There are 4 of them, each with the potential to collapse. Every one of them has the potential to repeat history. The earlier version of Eala might have cracked here. However, this was a different player created by development, loss, and faith. Her next action went beyond simply saving a game. It revealed her development. And that moment became the hinge on which the entire match would turn. The storm in Manila had only just started after that. facing a set that is hanging on a thread at 4 break points. Eala entered a career-defining moment. The kind of pressure situation where mental toughness becomes the decisive factor and skill alone is insufficient. Inside the Resaw Memorial Tennis Center, the commotion intensified to the point of being nearly tangible. Every supporter stood up, aware that this game could swing the entire match, as a wall of sound pressed in. While Eala bounced the ball slowly, eyes locked, breathing measured, and shutting out everything but the rectangle of court in front of her, Saketsum could taste blood, stalked the baseline, and sensed a crack. A lesson in nerves ensued. A bold first serve down the tee eliminated 1 break point. There was a shout so loud it seemed as though the stadium itself was trembling after another save with a forehand winner-ripped cross-court that hardly touched the line. On the third, Eala demonstrated self-control by carefully crafting the point, refraining from hitting too hard and waiting for Saketsum to blink first. When the 4th break point came and went following a grinding rally that finished with Saketsum netting a backhand, the momentum didn't just shift, it shifted abruptly in Eala's direction. For the first time in the entire match, her body language altered as she pumped her fist and held serve. Now, the hesitancy was on the other side of the internet. Saketsum put up a valiant fight, but Eala's escape from that service game revealed something. Riding the emotional rush, she broke in the very next game and decisively finished the set. It wasn't simple or clean, but it was resilient, and champions value resilience. In contrast, Eala's confidence started to soar in the second set. The audience sensed her improved footwork and braver shot selection, which fueled her energy with each point. Saketsum persisted in fighting, refusing to go down gently, but the pressure was constant. The exchanges were getting shorter, and the margins were getting thinner. Eala broke early, consolidated with a calm service hold, and all of a sudden the match, which had before seemed unstable, started to tilt decisively.